there, my name is Celia Krampien, and today I'm going to be reading from my book, The Bellwoods Game. This spooky story takes place on Halloween in the fictional small town of Fall Hollow, where everyone knows the Bellwoods forest is haunted. It has been ever since a girl named Abigail Snook went into the woods and never came out. It's said she was playing a game, one the kids in Fall Hollow still play. But when a new group of kids enters the woods, they discover there's much more to the old legends than they ever imagined. Only by working together can they outwit the mysterious force waiting for them in the woods. Today I'm going to be reading a little bit from Chapter 2, where our main character, Bailey, who is a spooky story enthusiast and currently very unpopular at school, is explaining some of the details of the Bellwoods game to new kid and aspiring journalist Noah. Here's Bailey. The game's an old Beckett Elementary tradition, going back years and years. Abigail Snook was supposedly playing it the night she disappeared. Problem is, she never actually finished. Legend says she returns every Halloween on the anniversary of her disappearance. She's cursed to play an endless game, trying to win her freedom from the woods. To do that, she needs Beckett kids to play with her. So, what exactly is the game? Noah wrote furiously as they walked. It has to do with the old bell out in the woods. 3 players are chosen to race to the bell. The one who rings it first banishes Abigail's spirit and keeps Fall Hollow safe for 1 more year. And what happens if someone doesn't ring the bell? Then Abigail Snook will go free and unleash her wrath on the whole town, Bailey said with a grin. No big deal. Spooky. What's a bell doing all the way out in the woods anyway? Bailey paused. She had never thought of the bell's existence as strange before. Much like the legends about Abigail Snook, it had always just been there. Then she had an idea. I could ask my Nan. She knows just about everything. Sounds like I need to meet your Nan. Noah flipped through his notebook, showing Bailey page after page filled with questions. Here's a good one, he said, tapping on a hasty scribble. Why do only 6th graders play? Well, Abigail was in the 6th grade when she disappeared. Maybe that's why? It's just always been that way. Kind of like a tradition, Noah finished. Exactly. The afternoon sun warmed the back of their legs as they crossed the bridge at Main Street. They walked in silence, Bailey pushing her bike while Noah jotted down thoughts. Around them, other Beckett students laughed and blasted music from their phones. For a moment, Bailey felt like part of it all, a regular kid walking home with a friend. It was a normal sort of feeling, a feeling she missed. But she didn't want to think about that. Did you have any traditions at your old school? Bailey asked. Noah paused, looking thoughtful. Some, I guess. Our class always played a prank on our teacher during the last week before summer vacation. Nothing mean, of course. We had a pretty good soccer team, too, and they always run regionals. It was a good school, for the most part. He suddenly sounded far away. He had a familiar look on his face, much like the one Bailey had been wearing lately. Maybe she wasn't the only one trying not to think of the way things used to be. But we didn't have anything like the Bellwoods game. Noah's attention was back on Bailey. Secret meetups, committees, presents for ghosts. Gifts, she corrected. Right. What's the deal with the gifts? They're sort of like protection. Supposedly, if a player gets caught by the ghost of Abigail Snook during the game, they can buy safe passage out of the woods with a gift. Noah nodded, copying down every word. Does it work? Do they keep the kids safe? Depends on which stories you want to believe. I don't think anyone has gone missing since Abigail Snook, so maybe. But I did hear one about a kid who played the game without one. A long time ago. What happened? Noah asked, eyes bright with curiosity. Bailey grinned. She knew the story well. She'd written it down in a special journal, one reserved solely for Bellwoods stories. It was one of Bailey's most prized possessions, a collection of every spine-tingling legend and frightful rumor about the Bellwoods game that had ever circulated through Beckett Elementary. Bailey didn't have her journal with her now, but she knew the story well enough. She took a deep breath and put on the serious face she reserved for telling tales. Then she began. He was a loud kid, the kind always getting in trouble for talking. He didn't believe in Abigail's ghost, said the stories were baloney and he was going to play the game and prove it. So on Halloween night, after he was chosen to play, he went into the woods without a gift. He was gone for a long time. The other 2 players came back, but there was no sign of the boy. There were sounds, though. Awful, terrifying sounds. Creepy, said Noah, taking notes as Bailey spoke. It was dark when he returned, stumbling out of the woods in a daze. There was nothing wrong with him otherwise. There wasn't even any mud on his shoes or scratches on his arms or face, which was weird, considering this kid had been running around in the woods in the dark. But all that mattered was he'd come out of the woods in one piece. At least that's what people thought at first. In the days following, the boy acted strange, quiet. Kids tried to get him to talk about what happened in the woods, but he couldn't. Not anymore. Why not? Bailey let her bike come to a rest beside her. Because if you don't have a gift to sacrifice during the game, Abigail will find something to take instead. Noah swallowed hard. What did she take? He wasn't writing anymore. He was looking at Bailey, eyes wide. She let the moment linger. His tongue, she finished, finally, dropping the ending like a ton of bricks. Her mouth twitched into a grin. Noah looked at her, stunned. Then he laughed. Gross. Totally. Bailey pushed her bike. But I doubt that really happened. But people believe this stuff, right? After hearing the stories, the game seems scary, dangerous? Both. I mean, if any of this is true, why play? It was a good question. Bailey didn't believe the stories about the woods, not really. But it was fun to imagine they could be true. Stories have the power to transform the ordinary into something more. They could turn a boring forest into a place where ghosts roamed, or a kid's game into a powerful tradition that protected the town from harm. As far as Bailey was concerned, stories were a sort of magic. Playing the Bellwoods game felt like a chance to be part of one of her favorite spooky tales. That's why she wanted to play. One reason, anyway. But Bailey wasn't about to tell Noah all that. Maybe it's the mystery, she said finally. If you want to know what's true and what isn't, playing the game is the only way to know for sure. You can't ask the older kids. Most of the time they pretend they don't even know what you're talking about, or tell you a story so wild it couldn't possibly be true. If you want to know for sure, you have to find out for yourself. Besides, she added, whoever wins the game is granted legendary status at Beckett. You're kidding. Hey, some schools are all about sports. Here at Beckett, the coolest kids survive a night in the woods with a ghost. That's all for today. If you want to learn more about me or the Bellwoods game, go to www.celiakrampien.com. And for more videos just like this, be sure to subscribe to the Simon Kids YouTube channel. Thanks so much for listening.